Hi there, welcome to Sudhakar Art and Photography. I wanted to talk a little about the rules of photography. So when I started off as a landscape photographer, I read all the rules, the rule of thirds, the importance of foreground, the importance of composition, and all of that. And I started taking landscapes and I made sure that it ticked all the boxes. And I was pretty happy with the kind of work I did. But very soon I found out that I was churning out mediocre images that just didn't do it for me. So I quickly got bored with it, and I started experimenting with minimalism and negative space. It did evoke an emotion in me when I took a minimalistic kind of picture with a lot of negative space. But then I found that negative space also has its rules. For example, you could shoot a nice landscape with in slow shutter speed with the night sky. But if the sky had some clouds and some stars, then that wasn't considered as negative space. So again, I found myself constrained and suffocated by the rules, the do's and don'ts, as it were, in photography. So I decided to follow my heart. And I discovered that when I harnessed space and light into my photographs, it did it for me. It evoked a kind of emotion that I really can't explain. So ever since, I've pursued photography in a way that it invoked a certain satisfaction, a certain emotion in me, and that's what I've pursued. Let me show you some of my pictures so you can see what you think about it. It's a matter of personal choice, and it could be debatable, but this is what worked for me, and I'd like to share that with you. Here's the first picture. The sky dominates this photograph with hardly any visibility of the grassy foreground because it was a cloudy, sunless day. It was windy and you could see the leafless tree and the lady walking against the wind. But when all the elements were put together, it seemed quite different from a conventional picture, and it kind of worked for me. Here's another similar picture. I was attracted by the clouds with a lot of sunshine falling on them, and that again dominates this picture here. This space of cloud and the sky kind of attracted me to this picture, and I decided that this composition looked good. Another similar picture, almost in the same location in Bristol. Another cloudy day, leafless trees, and a few people walking past. But again, the composition was something that I liked. This was a beach in Wales. What was different and what I kind of decided to keep was the old bark of a tree in the foreground. And when the sky and the foreground element was all put together with a few people walking on the beach, I liked this composition. Back in Bristol, almost the same location again. The two trees and the sky, the bench, somebody walking past. When everything fell in place, it was almost like a painting. So I've used a wide angle lens here, and you can see the clouds kind of bursting out from the horizon. I decided not to stick with monochrome and experiment with colors. This is Weston-super-Mare, southwest of England. The setting sun, the splash of yellow and orange, the reflection of those lights on the grass, all of it felt good. I liked the composition. The same beach, taken on the same day. I used, I've used a smaller picture here to capture the setting sun behind those hills. And as you can see in the foreground, there are a lot of seagulls, and it was low tide. Again, the composition is something that worked for me. It's a combination of very few elements, if you want to call it minimalism, but I've used light and space to create this effect. Here's another example of the manner in which I decided to harness light and space. The yellow bright light from the sun, its reflection on the sea, it all fell in place, and when a seagull decided to sit on the foreground post, it just kind of made the picture perfect. This was another intriguing picture that I found because the cloud formation was quite different. Again in the same location in Weston-super-Mare in southwest of England. All I can say is the use of sky and space coupled with light worked for me, and the picture kind of fell in place. This is one of my favorite pictures on the western coast of southern India in the state of Kerala. The beach was actually crowded with a lot of people, but I managed to find this few moments when I could capture this little fishing boat. But the sun was setting and there were a lot of rain clouds. Somehow this combination of grey clouds and the orange sky kind of fell in place, and I felt it was a space that was well used to create this effect. It was almost poetic. It's just another similar shot, but I've added an old man walking on the grass there. It kind of gives perspective to the whole shot. Very picturesque, I thought. It was again the southwest beach of England. The sky, the low tide, people cycling on the beach, everything fell together. So yeah, here's another typical example of a combination of minimalism, negative space or positive space or whatever you want to call it, but it worked for me. This is again in the southwest coast of India in Kerala. There were very few elements to capture here, which was what I liked. But I decided to keep the bush in the foreground and the setting sun in the horizon. This is the Clevedon Pier in southwest of England again. This was a slow shutter speed, long exposure shot, about 15 seconds, with a low aperture, the small aperture. And what impressed me was the gaze that took you from the right to the left. The sky and the smooth sea that you see because of the slow shutter speed. Yet another intriguing shot here in India on the west coast. The sun was setting. This splash of orange lasted just a few seconds, and you can see some people sitting there to enjoy the beach, the quietness. The only sound was the ripple of the waves on the rocks. But you can see how everything fell in together. Yet another shot of the beach. I've combined again a couple walking on the beach almost towards the end of the day on a hot summer day. The sun setting, and again what I found as intriguing was the orange space. As it slowly descends into the horizon, it becomes blue, and then you have the sea. So, yeah, liked it. This is almost a similar shot, but what I liked in this picture was the posts that takes you from this end right into the sea, and the rest of the pieces. You might say that this little board is distracting, but I kind of liked it there, which said warning, go beyond this place and you're in danger. So I decided to keep that board. Here's your classic minimalistic shot with negative space. This was in Santorini, the Greek island. I was sitting in a restaurant having dinner with my wife when I noticed this ship, the tourist ship, which serves dinner and entertainment and everything else, but taken from the restaurant on a slow shutter speed of about 10 seconds. I think it created the effect. All this negative space that you see around you actually draws your attention to the ship itself. So this is my closing shot, and kind of summarizes my journey from starting off on photography, understanding the rules, experimenting with them. And I hope you like my pictures. Thank you. I hope you liked some of my works. Do leave your comments, both positive and negative, and let me know what you think about my work. Now here's the point. If you're a beginner and you're starting off photography, by all means you should understand the rules. The rules are there for a reason. It's been researched, consulted with experts, and that's why there are some rules in place. You have to follow your career by understanding the rules. But somewhere down the lane, if you're not happy and not satisfied, then by all means stretch the rules, modify the rules, because at the end of the day, this is about the art of photography, and art cannot be confined by rules. So follow your heart and let the art do its work. Good luck.